Hello and welcome to the beginning of our cacao ceremony. This portion of the recording is about the smudging and creating your sacred space. So before we start this, you might want to gather everything you're going to need for the actual cacao before we do our creating our sacred space. So maybe you have your cacao powder in your cup with your anything you're adding. You might not be adding anything, but you might be adding cardamom or cinnamon or honey. So have all of that in your cup, and maybe have your hot water handy in a thermos or mixed in a thermos, but just not in your cup yet, because it'll take us a few minutes to go through this initial part, and so we don't want your cacao to be cold. But if you're sitting in a chair for your cacao ceremony, I'll be moving to my chair for that part of it through the meditation journey. If you need any blankets, if you're on your yoga mat, if you need any props, sweaters, sometimes when you're laying down for the meditation journey, it can be a bit chilly and you want to be warm. Have your journal handy, because a really important part of the cacao ceremony is the journaling immediately after you come out of your meditation journey. And then of course have your smudge and your candle handy. I happen to have kind of a plate with some sand. I don't know how well we can see it without me tipping it over. I have some sand in here just because when I'm using the white sage, it's very dry and it can tend to burn a little bit more than the Palo Santo does. I have both smudges here. And so having the sand to put out my smudge is very, very helpful. So hit pause if you need to gather any of those things and get any of that ready, and then we will continue on. So you can hit pause now. Okay, so for our smudge, especially when you're using sage, it's a really good idea to have a window open so that not only can the smoke leave, but also the negative energy. And so I have a little kind of a poem on the elements from young Pueblo that I'm going to use as we honor the elements. And each of the elements is related to a direction. So we're going to start with a smudge of ourselves, and then you can do a smudge of your sacred space, whatever room you might be doing this in, and I will talk you through that. I'm going to remain facing the camera, but I will cue you to move in different directions if you wish to turn your body, whether you're standing or sitting for this initial part. But I'll stay facing you so that I don't move out of frame. So again, have a window open. I'm going to light the sage just a little bit. And as soon as I light this, it starts to smoke. So we don't want it burning with a flame. If it does start on fire, you can blow it out. And just take a moment. We don't want to purposely inhale directly from the smoke, but just let it halo around you. I like to start, I think each of you should have the meditation or the smudge prayer. But I like to start with my hands and cleansing the hands with a thought in my mind of cleansing my hands so that all I create in this day is created in the best intention for the collective, and cleansing both hands. And then cleansing, drawing the smoke either with a feather or with your hand around the head, connecting the cleansing with your intuition, your clarity, your thoughts, your connection to spirit, with positive energy. And then to the throat chakra, may your words, that you speak today be spoken with kindness, and may you hear the truth. To your heart center, may everything travel through the heart that you do in the world with kindness and compassion for the greatest good of both yourself and the collective. And to your belly center, your center of power, may you use your power wisely and for the greater good. and to the low belly, our center of creativity. And may we create beautiful things in the world. And I also like to cleanse my feet so that my feet may carry me where I most need to be today. And then I also like to, as long as you don't have red hot embers or a flame, cleanse the back body where our unconscious resides. And then again, being mindful, you might actually place your smudge down in your smudge bowl, but you can circle around your head in a clockwise direction. And then just pause for a moment with that feeling of all your energy field having been cleansed, mind, body, and spirit, of all negativity, and replace that with some positive intentions. And then we can cleanse the space starting with the east direction, and again using that clockwise circle, turn to the east in your space and moving your smudge clockwise, and then turning to the south direction, again smudging clockwise, maybe moving all the way to the corners of your space, and then turning to the west direction, and then turning one more turn to the right to the north direction, so that all your space has been cleansed. And then you can come back to your center. I like to just tap my white sage into the sand a little bit to make sure there are no ashes or no flame or embers, and then place it in my smudge bowl. And then find a seat for yourself. We're going to start with the directions here and honoring the elements as we call in the elements into our sacred circle today. So find your seat, whatever that's going to look like for you. Let your eyes close. Get comfortable. And just take a couple of breaths here. Inhaling through your nose. Exhaling through your mouth. Do 2 more breaths like that. Inhaling. Exhale, releasing. 1 more time like that. Inhale. And then keeping eyes closed if you feel comfortable. If you wish to face east, you can, or you can imagine facing east. The east element is associated with the air element, the east direction associated with the air element and with the season of spring. So take a moment to internalize the values of air as you release your expectations, as you release your breath. As you embrace the constant movement of change, and remembering that seeing is not everything, and feeling is essential. Internalizing those values of air. And then we bring ourselves to turn to the right, to embody the teachings of fire. The south direction is associated with the summer season and the element of fire. Transmute what you experience into light. Be strong enough to have clear boundaries. Have awareness of when you need more fuel. Embodying these teachings of fire. And now we come to turn another quarter turn to the right, to the west direction, associated with the season of autumn and the qualities of the element of water. And as we cultivate these qualities of water, we are reminded to move through life with gentleness, to have access to your power at all times. And we remember that flexibility and persistence can increase our success, cultivating the qualities of water. And then we turn a quarter turn to the right, to the north direction associated with the season of winter and the element of earth. We practice the strengths of the earth by having a giving nature, being grounded in your purpose, and holding firm in times of turbulence. We practice these strengths of the earth. And these are words from young Pueblo that really help us learn how to embody these elements. And just sit with this for a moment in contemplation. Inhale and exhale. And now to further create our sacred circle, we draw in the helping spirits, the ancestors of the land upon which you are residing at this moment, your own ancestors that are of healthy spirit, healthy energy, your helping spirits and guides that are with you always and here for your greatest good. And may whatever healing that you experience today heal not only our past generations, our ancestors before us, but also the future generations of our generations to come. So that as we heal ourselves, we're also healing our past and our future. And with that, we'll begin our ceremony. You can let your eyes open. I'll just talk briefly about this full moon of February before we prepare our cacao and move into our meditation. And so February is a transitional month, and this moon is called the snow moon. And it's called that. These moons were given sometimes many names, but the February moon being the snow moon, this is often when there's a lot of winter storms as spring is trying to claw its way back and winter is trying to hold on to its grip. And we're seeing this year of the extremes of the days that feel like spring and the next day is like a winter blizzard. And so the result manifests in this bizarre weather and unpredictable mood swings for us as well, just as nature seems unpredictable in her mood swings. There are these radical shifts. But the beauty of this moon and this time of year being transitional is that it is abundant with opportunities, which is a perfect time for us to be doing this rebirth, this cacao ceremony that has been blessed with the rebirth blessing. It's a time for us to arise, to emerge and return to the light of promise. And this snow moon can symbolize change and hope and creativity and growth, which is all part of this rebirth. But as we know, growth is not always comfortable, and neither is rebirth, and neither is birth. Can also be quite traumatic. So think about how you can clear out the unnecessary and make room for the necessary and for the meaningful. And we focus on directing our magical intentions to our rituals this month, focused on new habits, on our goals and our plans for the future as part of this rebirthing. And so keeping all that in mind, I'll invite you now, and again, if you need to pause the video, go ahead and pause. I'm going to transition to a nice comfy armchair, and you might do the same. You might get your cacao ready and have your yoga mat and some blankets, because you might want to lay down for our journey. When I'm journeying, I particularly like to lie down. So hit pause, get all that ready, and then go ahead and come back when you're all set up. Okay, let's get started with our cacao. Make sure you're comfortable, have your journal handy. I'm going to be using a little meditation journey from this book by Nikki Scully, or using a portion of it, I should say. So take your cup with your cacao in it and everything that you need in it. And let's take a moment with your ceremonial cup and your ceremonial cacao. Hold it between your hands, feel the warmth. Close your eyes and hold the cup just under your nose. And inhale the fragrance through your nose of the fragrance of the cacao. And as you exhale, allow the whispers of your intention to enter into the cacao. And 3 breaths like that, inhaling the fragrance. And exhale the whisperings of your intentions. One more time, like then inhaling through the nose and exhaling out your mouth. And feel the warmth of the cacao. And then we will go through this cacao prayer from the sacred space in your heart as you hold the cup in front of your heart. Invoke the elemental forces of the cacao, Mother Cacao. Lead me to your roots to remember my origin as you bring your cup down to the earth. And bringing your cup to your belly. Hold me in your trunk to strengthen my body. And raise your cup up to your head. Raise me to your cup to nourish my mind with your light. And allow me to bloom through your fruits, to manifest sweetness and warmth. And thank you for being, thank you for existing as you bring your cup back to your heart. Now you can begin to sip your cacao mindfully, taking in the smell, the warmth, the fragrance, and the taste, the bitterness and the sweetness. And continue sipping mindfully. You can keep your eyes closed as you do so if you wish. And I will talk about the rebirth blessing that this ceremonial cacao was blessed with for this month. Every one of us has entered this 3rd dimension reality through the sacred portal of our mother's womb. In our mother's womb, we bathed in the energy of our environment, and like a sponge, we absorbed our mother's thoughts, feelings, emotions, and sensual experiences. During our childhood, our identity formed around this programming, conditioning, and learned behaviors as we observed and mimicked mostly survival techniques and protection mechanisms borrowed from previous generations. We were born into this world as a sponge, and we became what surrounded us, and now we have a choice. To continue on as the circumstances defining our upbringing, or create something new. Continue sipping your cacao. And I'll read on with the rebirth poem from the cacao that this was blessed with. Rebirth. a conscious undoing, a divorcing of the past, an empty canvas, a return to no thing, the eternal space of unlimited possibility, the death of all that came before to make space for what desires to be. We are unlimited in what we can do, be, and become. Unconstrained by the past, what will we create with the gift that is our life? Who will we choose to be? Creation is always a choice. Our free will makes it so. Even when we choose to be limited by the past, it is a choice, whether it is conscious or unconscious. What will you do with the empty canvas you've been given? Free from all that defines you, what will you create? Now take a few moments just to sit with this as you finish your cacao, sipping and savoring, letting those intentions of rebirth percolate. And on your own time, as you finish, you can begin to make your way into your seat or lying down, whatever position you choose to be as we move into our meditation journey. I'm going to have some music in the background that has some drumming because it seems to pick up better than my own drumming. So as you relax into your position and beginning to feel the effects of the cacao as it travels through your body, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. We'll do this several times. Continue with your breathing and feel the energy of the elements of air, fire, water, and earth. Allow yourself to be filled with the heartbeat of the beating drum, the heartbeat of the earth. Notice that you may have more than one guide today, helping spirits, your ancestors, ancestors of the land, those who are of healthy spirit who have come before you. Let the loving, nurturing energy that is cacao take you where you need to go on this meditation. Take a moment to acknowledge where you are in your life. What have you manifested, both good and bad? Recognize the roles you have played throughout your life and may continue to play. Recognize the places where you may have given away your inner power, or roles you have played that have not fed your inner fire. Times you have not been your authentic self. Now, as your body comes into stillness, allow your mind to travel. Allow your mind to take you to that quiet, magical time between night and day. Just before the first light of dawn illuminates the eastern horizon. Find yourself brought to a path near a river. The drum beats you hear are the heartbeat of Mother Earth. Warm and moist, the balmy air wraps around you in a soft embrace. You can feel the moisture from the dew that has gathered on the grass along the path. The surrounding mountains are blanketed with deep, lush, velvet-like terrain. The path you are on leads you to the great river of life. The guide that is with you directs you to gaze at the lovely lotus blossoms. And there is just a hint of the hidden fragrance that this flower exudes when the sun shines forth to open its heavenly crown. Feel the strength and the beauty of this exquisite flower. It is warm and peaceful here. You want to get a closer look. And in order to do so, you must follow the stem of the lotus down into the water, down to the rhizomes, the horizontal roots beneath the surface. The water is warm, and you will find that in this dimension, breathing comes easily, even under the water. You hear that heartbeat, the heartbeat of the earth. In order to explore and re-experience your physical birth, you must travel further down the root of your lotus, following these deeper shoots as they descend into the rich mud of the river bottom, taking you back through time, back through your childhood, back to your earliest memories, and further back to the very source of your life. You are in your mother's womb, safe, secure, gently rocked and enveloped by the amniotic fluid. There is the ever-present beating of your mother's heart. As long as the heartbeat is there, you know you are safe. For the heartbeat is the rhythm of life. You begin to feel a stirring. To experience a sense of striving to be born. A striving to come forth into the light of life on earth. Be aware as the striving awakens within you that you are choosing to be born. And now, as you re-experience your birth, do so with the full awareness and acceptance that you have chosen this life. As you come forth into the light of new life, And while observing your life from birth to present, you have an opportunity to forgive others who may have caused you anguish or pain. And in those places where you would judge yourself, you forgive yourself. Accept that you are a beautiful, unique, and wonderful being. It is through forgiveness that you can resolve the past traumas of your life. As you move back up through time, back up through the lotus, you will find yourself once again cradled in the exquisite lotus blossom. Its soft color and delicious fragrance generate a feeling of well-being as you rock in the gentle current of the river. Now that you've experienced your rebirth, enjoy the feeling and look toward beginning anew. The lotus releases its roots, and the current of the river gently and purposely carries you downstream. With wonder, you begin to anticipate the nourishment of life and love. The river widens into a bay. And here in the slower current, you see a beautiful luminescent pearl. You may swallow this pearl or place it inside yourself. And as you absorb this pearl, you feel its nourishment and luminosity spread throughout your being. This pearl has filled you with love and joy, truth and empowerment, peace, gratitude, connection, beauty, and wonder. Feel all those things stirring inside of you, nestling in and finding a spot to stay. Imagine how your life will be different when these are the new governing energies. How will you be different? Perhaps a little softer around the edges. Perhaps instead of anger, you may feel empathy. Instead of fear, you may feel connection. Whatever you find there, be in it fully. Now you thank your guides for being here with you. And you begin to find your way back to this time and place, birthed anew. Take a moment to feel your breath. Feel the solid surface beneath you, where your body connects to the earth. Feel the edges of your body, where your body meets the atmosphere around it. Begin to come back to your body, back to this space. And without opening your eyes, roll to one side. Find your journal, find your pen. Let anything about your experience flow onto your paper now. Anything that stood out. You may wish to make your way up to a seat and continue journaling, or just sitting in stillness for a little bit longer. And if you'd like to share anything via email about your experience, I would love to hear. I hope you had a wonderful full moon journey with your cacao and a wonderful rebirthing experience. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Continue journaling, continue your stillness, and be sure to go and view the moon tonight. Namaste. Thank you for joining.